Hello, my dear students in Prep 3. Today we are going to revise our novel, A Tale of Two Cities. A Tale of Two Cities is one of the most popular novels written by Charles Dickens. We are going to focus on some of the main characters and the main themes. The first characters we have today is Dr. Alexander Manette. Dr. Alexander Manette is a French doctor who was respected and uh, liked by most of the French people at that time. He was a very kind doctor, but unfortunately, he was put in prison for 18 years, even without a trial. This doctor forgot everything he knows about his life, his family, and his career because of spending 18 years in the French prison, the Bastille. All what he remembered that he is making shoes. Why making shoes? He is making a shoe for a little girl. This little girl is his daughter, Lucy Manette. Lucy Manette is one of the main characters in our novel. She is a very beautiful young lady. She is very kind and liked by most of the people who meet her. Actually, guys, Lucy Manette lived all her life thinking that she is an orphan girl whose father died a long time ago. But in chapter 1, she knows the shocking truth that her father is still alive and he was put in the prison for 18 years. Later on, she marries the other main character, Charles Darnay. Charles Darnay is a French rich man. He belongs to the upper class. He is very rich. He belongs to the Marquise family or the Evremond family. Actually, guys, this family has a very bad reputation in France because this family used to treat the poor people unkindly and cruelly. Most of the time, they treated the poor people like dogs. They didn't care about their lives. They didn't care whether they live or die. But Charles Darnay was not like his family. Actually, he didn't like the way his family treated the poor people. That's why he decided to leave everything in France, to leave his property, his business, his family name, and everything, and go to live in London, start a new life, and work as a teacher of French. Later on, he lives in England under a false name. He calls himself Charles Darnay, not Charles the Marquis, and then he meets Lucy and decides to marry her. Another main character in our novel is Sydney Cotton. Sydney Cotton is one of the few characters in our novel who are English. Sydney Cotton is English, but actually he looks exactly like Charles Darnay, the French rich man. Sydney Cotton has a miserable life. He is not happy at all. And in the novel, he said that he is a disappointed man. Nobody loves him and he loves nobody. But actually, he falls in love with Lucy at first sight when he sees her in Darnay's trial. But of course, he is sure that Lucy can never love him because he is not equal to her and that she loves also Charles Darnay. We have Ernest Devarge, and actually, guys, Devarge is one of the most important names in our novel because Monsieur Devarge is the leader of the French Revolution. He is the leader, okay? He is the owner of a wine shop and the leader of the French Revolution. Madame Devarge, Madame Devarge also Monsieur Devarge's wife, and she was the leader of the women in the French Revolution. Now let's go to the themes. Actually, guys, the themes here are some of the most important themes in our novel. The first theme in our novel is the theme of resurrection. The theme of resurrection, actually, Charles Dickens focuses on this theme because we have many characters who were resurrected in the novel or who came back from death to life. One of these characters is Charles Darnay, when he was accused of being a spy, but then he was proved to be not guilty. We also have Dr. Alexander Manette, who spent 18 years in prison, and everybody thought that he was dead, but he comes back to life and starts living with his daughter. But actually, this is on the personal level, but we have another deeper level, which is the political or social level. The resurrection of France and England. As Charles Dickens tells us that France and England were starving, the people were starving in France and England, but after the French Revolution, they started to live again. Another theme is the theme of violence and oppression. Of course, violence and oppression, it's also discussed on two levels. The first level, the violence and the oppression of the rich people, how they treated the poor people. They didn't care about their life. The poor people were starving all the time and they didn't care. Also, we have the Marquis family, an example of the French people, the French rich people who treated the French people or the poor French people like dogs. Another level, violence and oppression after or during the revolution, the French Revolution, when the poor people started taking revenge, they killed everyone belonged to a noble class or to the rich people. Anyone who was rich was killed. We also have the theme of class struggle. This theme is also very clear in the novel because we have a class struggle all the time between the rich people and the poor people before the revolution and after the revolution. Now, let's read some important quotes or some important quotations from our novel. Say that my answer was recalled to life. Recalled to life, and came back to life. Who came back to life? Here, that's Mr. Lorry, the bank clerk. He was talking to Jerry Cruncher about Dr. Alexander Manette, who came back to life. And this is related to the theme of resurrection. I am a disappointed man. I care for no man on earth, and no man on earth cares for me. Of course, this was said by the only miserable character in our novel, which is Sidney Carton. Sidney Carton said these words to Charles Darnay when Charles Darnay went to thank him for saving his life in the court, but actually Sidney Carton reveals his own character that he is a miserable man. Fear and slavery will keep the dogs obedient to the whip. Fear and slavery will keep the dogs. These words were said by the Marquis to Charles Darnay in the chateau when he was telling him that repression and oppression is the only lasting philosophy and they must make the poor people afraid and slaves all the time so that they can control them like dogs. This is, of course, related to the theme of violence and oppression. 105 North Tower. 105 North Tower. This quote was said by Dr. Alexander Manette to Mr. Lorry, Miss Lucy, and Monsieur Devarge in the wine shop when they asked him about his name. And as we said before, Dr. Alexander Manette suffered from a mental illness. He couldn't remember anything about his former life. All what he remembers is the number of his cell in prison. Of course, this is related to the theme of injustice or oppression. The list is written in a sacred code in my wife's knitting, and these words were said by Monsieur Devarge to one of the Jacks or the people who took part in the revolution. Actually, guys, Madame Devarge was knitting all the time, and she was knitting a list of names. This is the list of names of the people, the rich people, who would be killed in the French Revolution. And of course, it was written in a secret code. Thank you so much. By this, we have covered the most important characters and the most important themes in our novel, also the most important codes. I hope that now you can remember things or you can analyze the novel easier. Later on, inshallah, I will post a video with the movie from chapter 1 to chapter 10 with the most important scenes. And don't forget to subscribe the channel and like the video if you like it. Thank you so much. See you later in another video, and goodbye.